Hi everyone, my name's Lorraine and welcome to See Through the Big C. So this is a conversation all about cancer, and I'll be interviewing different people in the community, whether that's people diagnosed with cancer, healthcare professionals, or people caring for somebody with cancer. And I cannot wait to meet so many amazing people. So here we go. Hi everyone, my name's Lorraine and this is See Through the Big C, and I'm here with Colleen, who I've known for quite a number of years now, yes. I think. And you're here today to share your story about your cancer journey. Yep. So I know at the moment this is your second time with your cancer diagnosis, but what I want to do before we get into that is take you back to Colleen way before any cancer. And yep. Who were you as a person?
Gosh,
that's a big question.
Yes, it's a big question, different question. So, yeah, I'd go out all the time. I would be the life and soul of the party. I would be organising things, to do things. I'd never really stay in at the weekends and just be out and about and enjoying life. And my favourite hobby was going on holidays.
Yes, which is always good. Yeah. And so when were you first diagnosed with cancer?
2017.
And what type of cancer was that?
So it's one of the rarest ones. It was appendix cancer. So it was lucky that I found it, to be fair.
And how were you able to find out that you actually had appendix cancer?
So I had a little niggle, went to out of hours, they thought I had appendicitis, took me to hospital, and then they ran the test and it was inconclusive. So the next morning they took my appendix out. I was actually due to fly to Barcelona that day, but obviously couldn't go. Yeah. So they took the appendix out, and it wasn't until 6 weeks later that I got called what I thought was a post-op check. And then they advised me then that I had appendix cancer.
And so when you went for that post-op check, did you just go in on your own? Were you expecting anything at that point?
Nothing whatsoever. I did say, I actually had a Matrix moment when he said, there's no easy way of telling you this. And it was literally like, he's going to tell me I've got cancer. Don't be stupid. And then he said, are you on your own? And I said, yes. And he did advise at the time that if they'd have told me to bring somebody, then I would have worried. So I can kind of see both sides of it, really. Yeah,
and was that in the local hospital in Northampton?
Yes, in Kettering General Hospital,
And then as soon as you were told that, what were the next steps for you?
So the next steps, because I had my appendix removed, I then had to have a right hemicolectomy to remove part of my bowel because the appendix is joined to the bowel, so they needed to get rid of all the appendix and lymph nodes. And then following that, I had 6 months of chemo, which was every 2 weeks. So I'd go into the hospital for the whole day and have the infusion, and then I'd come home with it attached to me for 48 hours and then get it detached to me after the 48 hours, if that makes sense.
Because you wouldn't normally hear about, because people, when they hear about chemo, they think you go into the hospital, but you're actually having it outside. You were taking it. How does that work? Yeah, how does that work?
So I had a portacath fitted, so that's inside your body all the time into your main vein. So they'd attach it to that with this weird needle thing and strap it down. And then you'd have a wire and then like a little pump. And then I'd carry it around in a bum bag with me because obviously you can't shower or do normal day-to-day activities. So that came home with me, and that was for 48 hours. And then a nurse would come out and detach it for me once it had all gone, or the 48 hours was up, whichever was first.
And were you living at home on your own at that point?
Yes, I was.
So how were you managing?
With great difficulty, with the support of family and friends. Rotas. I mean, one of the things that people don't talk about when you get the cancer diagnosis is how organised you have to be. Fortunately, I am super organised, but I really don't know how people cope that are not organised because there's so much to battle through.
It just sounds like it. I mean, if you're going into hospital, you've got to get there. Then you're coming home, you've got to try and manage it. Appointments. It's a lot.
It is, and when you're actually on chemo, you can't drive. So whilst you've got that chemo attached to you for 48 hours, you can't drive. So I remember waking up one Sunday morning, and it's a bizarre story. I wanted some white toast. I was craving white toast, and I cried over it for about an hour because it was like 7 o'clock in the morning. And I couldn't reach out to anybody on a 7 o'clock on a Sunday morning, and then I got told off because I should have done.
But you don't want to put nobody out, right?
No, it's horrible putting people out. Yeah, definitely.
So how were you getting to the hospital then? Obviously, if you couldn't drive, were you relying on family and friends to help you?
Yeah, literally, somebody would drive me to the hospital. stay with me all day, and then I'd get attached to the chemo and then come home. They'd drive me home as well. And then some good friends of mine, I had to see the oncologist every other Tuesday.
Yeah.
They would actually take me because I just didn't have the energy to drive. It's all these things that people don't realise, that it's not just the day's treatment. There's the fatigue afterwards, and I could tell you a whole story about fatigue.
No, I do, no, because like the whole point of this is so people can understand and learn.
With chemo, obviously, you get side effects, and when you look on any website, and even I only look at reputable ones, obviously, but the side effects are listed as long as your arms. It's nausea, it's sickness, it's hair loss, you know, diarrhea, constipation. They're all listed.
Yeah.
But and they do mention fatigue, but fatigue is it's an illness in its own right. And not having the strength to even get up, to wash yourself. I know we're coming on to my second cancer diagnosis, but like this weekend, I slept for 2 hours on the settee after only being up for 3 hours. And when I wake up, I physically cannot get up to even get myself a drink.
Yeah.
So what I have to do now is that when I go and lay on the settee, I need to make sure that I've got perhaps a little snack to eat, a bottle of water or whatever. So when I wake up, I've just got to reach over.
Yeah.
Fatigue is like nothing else. It's one of the worst side effects.
And do you know what? I haven't heard actually anybody say that to me before.
Oh my God. I mean, I still suffered from fatigue from my first cancer diagnosis 5 years later.
Yeah.
Now I've got it again because of my second cancer diagnosis, so it's like double whammy. So even though if you're not on chemo, you still have fatigue afterwards, and people go, oh God, you're tired today. And you're like, it's not tired. Because when people are tired, as a general rule, they might rest, they might go to sleep, read a book, whatever. But when you've got fatigue from cancer and it's not spoken about, it is an illness within its own right. And I do mean that very strongly.
I can tell,
I do think very, very strongly of it. It's awful. It's just like nothing.
And it's not like, oh, you go to sleep and you wake up, you feel refreshed. It makes no difference whatsoever.
I saw a friend on Saturday, and I've not seen her for about a week. She said, how are you? And I just looked at her and I went, I seriously have not got the energy to even tell you how my week's been. I said, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
And just closed my eyes. And that was me
and
gone.
then you went, back to sleep.
Literally, yeah, definitely.
So when you were going through the first time you had cancer, that again was a symptom or side effects, I should say, that was really intense for you.
Off the scale intense, yeah. And then after my 6 months of chemo, we did a PET scan and a lymph node had grown. So there's actually, I can't remember the professor's name, in Basingstoke, so I then went for cytoreductive surgery.
And what is that for anybody who wouldn't know?
It's called mother of all surgeries. It's by the time I went, there was only 2,000 performed in the UK.
So really rare.
Really rare. And they literally cut you open from breastbone to pubic bone, open you up. I can never pronounce the word. They remove your mentrum, strip your peritoneal lining. They check your other organs, so your ovaries are removed because there's a risk of cancer there. Spleen and gallbladder are also looked at, but they were fine, so they left them in. But they also give you with what's called HIPEC.
Okay, I don't know what that is,
Yeah, so HIPEC, so when they've got you open, there's this massive, massive machine, and it gives you chemo, an hour's worth of chemo wash whilst you're open.
Wow.
But the equivalent of that is 6 months worth of chemo.
In that 1
hour.
Wow. Okay.
So technically, I had the 6 months, I had 2 operations, 6 months chemo, 10-hour operation, and then another hour's worth of chemo, which was equivalent to 6 months worth of chemo. So the fatigue...
I'm not surprised. The fatigue,
I hadn't got over it from the first lot to then go into it the second lot.
Yeah.
And I remember the funniest thing was, because it was down in Basingstoke and I was supposed to be in for 3 weeks, but I got out after 9 days. They couldn't believe it, but I knew it was the end of my journey. So I think
you kind of like
positive. I was like, this is the end. There's nothing more I can do, and physically I cannot get cancer anywhere else in that part of my body.
Because the whole point of that surgery was to completely
strip it all out.
Yeah.
But I went back to my local doctors I had about 100 staples in me. So I booked in a double appointment, and all the nurses kept knocking on the door going, we've never seen this before, can we come in? I'm like, yeah, fill your boots, come on in. Because it helps them learn, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean?
So, because you said it was only like 2,000 people have had that surgery.
Back in when did I have it? February 2018, yes.
So did you have to kind of be selected for that type of surgery?
Yes.
And was there a process or?
Yeah, so Dr. Agarwal referred me to Basingstoke because this lymph node had grown through the PET scan, and then Mr. Dayal arranged to see me. But I thought, when I originally was going for the appointment, I had all these questions, and I'll come on to questions in a minute actually, had all these questions, and I thought it was a trial, but it's not. So it's only performed in Basingstoke or Manchester.
Yeah.
And then if you don't have this operation, you then develop peritoneal disease, then you have the operation, but then you only have a lifespan of 5 to 7 years.
Wow. So you said, look, I've got to, I've got to do it,
So it was a 50% chance of developing peritoneal disease, which I was not going to take those risks at 50-50. The mortality rate on the operation is higher than your general. It's about 5%.
Yeah.
So it was a no-brainer. So there was a little to and fro in, and then yes, they authorised it.
Yeah.
And again, I was due to fly to New York.
So again, another holiday.
So I cancelled that and had the operation instead.
But you obviously moved away then from your family and friends if you're in Basingstoke.
Yes,
locally here.
People did come down to see me.
Which is
my
amazing.
daughter, bless her, she actually came down. I mean, I got a photo of it. It's horrendous. There was about 16 different entry points in me of all different things that they were. But the worst thing about that operation was the tube up your nose, and when they removed that was the most painful thing ever. Yeah, out of being
everything
cut
that
open.
happened. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think the other thing that I find difficult wasn't difficult for me, but I think difficult for a lot of people is the terminology that's used.
I mean, even you've been using words now, and I've had to ask you to clarify because the terminology is so big, and it's like sometimes you don't get that further explanation as well.
You don't. And I've had so many people reach out to me because I shared my journey through social media. And one young girl, unfortunately, she's actually, bizarrely enough, has been diagnosed with appendix cancer, and she's waiting for the surgery. But I went to her appointments with her because, they're using terminology like Folfax, 5FU, chemotherapy, radiotherapy, and all these words. And she just sends me her letter. She goes, what does this mean?
Yeah.
I'm stage R1, and I didn't know what stage R1 was, so I had to do my research.
Yeah.
Because we only know stages as you got stage 1, 2, 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Somebody else mentioned stage 5, and I'm like,
what's stage 5? Yeah, what's stage 5?
Yeah. Stage 5 is like you're no longer really, because mine was stage 4.
And for that, what does that mean for this stage 4?
Stage 4 is like you're one before we can't do anything for you, kind of scenario in my mind, but I could be wrong. But I do think that whilst the nurses, the oncologist nurse, I mean, they're just amazing people, and the professors and the doctors, they need to dumb it down for people.
Yeah, definitely.
I will do my research. I will ask the questions to the point where every Tuesday when I went along, I had the questions ready in my notes. The doctor used to just take them off to me and go, yes, no, no, yes, no, yes. But that was important because I needed the answers for that.
Absolutely.
And I still ask them today because obviously I'm under different treatment now. But we need to dumb down the terminology for people. We need to let people understand.
Absolutely. Do you feel like on that basis that they don't treat you as a patient then? Not a patient, a person, shall I say. They don't treat you as a person, because if they did, they would be like thinking about what they're saying. So like you said, make the language a bit simpler. Yeah,
I think they're under so much pressure because obviously cancer's increased, and I think that it's not increased, I think, due to our lifestyles, but also there's more testing and,
definitely.
There's a lot more awareness. But I just don't think they have the time. They're literally, I mean, I go in for my appointments and I will be as long as I need to be to ask those questions. With the young girl that I went in a couple of months back, it was kind of like, right, let's get you out the door. You
Next
can see
person,
the nurse. And I get it and I understand it, but I'll stand my ground. But a lot of people won't.
No, and I hear a lot of people that actually don't. And they say if the time is, they have 10 minutes, they will get moved out in 10 minutes. And if you, like you said, you have to kind of like take that lead and responsibility and like prepare yourself in advance, and that seems to have worked for you.
It does, and I think it's because of who I am as a character. And I've started a blog on Instagram for my new cancer diagnosis, and my kind of ethos is lead your care.
Yeah.
So I had a situation last week where I was unhappy, but I've changed it. And, you have to lead your care. You have to get them to stop, and you have to get them to listen to you.
Yeah.
Write your notes down. Don't take no for an answer, because you are important as a person. Doesn't mean that they don't care about you because they're trying to get you out in 5-10 minutes, but it has to be done. You have to lead your care.
Yeah, and put your case forward because you know your body better.
Absolutely.
Better than anybody. So in terms of like the support network, did you feel there was like support groups that you could go to? But obviously, I know you said your cancer was quite rare, but was there overall cancer support groups or people that you could speak to?
I didn't really reach out to support groups. I went for personal counselling instead. It sounds an awful thing to say, but I'll say it because it's what I believe in. I didn't want to make friends with lots of cancer patients, and I know that sounds absolutely awful, but it was my journey. And what I've said to everybody that's gone or going through it, it is your personal journey, so you have to decide what you want, you know. And I literally needed that one-to-one personal counselling, and I have it again today. Not physically today, but in this period of time. But I know that there are support groups out there, but I guess in one way the support groups make it more real to me. Not that it isn't real, but because I have good days and bad days, when I have my good days, I don't want to be going around other people. I really don't. And I know that sounds so selfless or selfish. No, not selfless, selfish. No. But it's just the way that I deal with it.
Yeah, that's the way you feel and that's the way you cope.
Yeah, it is. But I just feel that there needs to be more for people than support groups. But again, can I say that? Because
you can say whatever you like.
Yeah, because I've not been to them. But for me, I would come from it from a different angle. I would come from it from the terminology perspective, how you have to be organised, how you don't have to take... What they're saying is, you know, I hear people waiting for CT scans. Right, let's give you chemo for 3 months, then we'll scan you. Then they can't get a scan for another 4 or 5 weeks. That's just not acceptable.
And then what's happening in that time? Yeah.
You know, I need a scan. I'm having an early one for reasons, which are good reasons. So I've gone ahead and I've booked that.
Yeah.
I'm not waiting for someone around to give me that phone call.
Yeah.
I have my bloods every Tuesday morning to see if I'm okay for chemo on the Thursday. So I phone Wednesday afternoon, are my bloods okay? Yes, no, whatever. You know, people are turning up for chemo and saying, oh, did you not get the call because your bloods aren't good, so you can't have chemo? It's just not good enough. No. There needs to be, for me, more administration staff. Yeah. You know, and I would absolutely put that forward through to the government and everything else like that, because there needs to be more done. Yeah. And I think financially I'm okay, but there are a lot of people that aren't. And I do think that you fill out something on Macmillan and, you know, their website, absolutely brilliant website. But then, no, you can't get this, no, you can't get that. And you're like, well, what if these people are on a really low wage and then all of a sudden they've lost their wage, they don't get sick pay or they get statutory sick pay? Yeah. You know, there should be a minimum payment for somebody that's been diagnosed with cancer, that should actually get a payment out. Yeah. I really strongly believe that.
No, I do, because there's so many people that, like you said, they can't work through no choice of their own. Their family member can't work because they're caring for somebody. So how are you supposed to live? And like the bank, if you've got like bills there, they don't care.
No,
like,
of course
they still want their money. So I agree with you from own observations as well, that there does need to be something to be able to provide that financial support and relief. But also, if you turn up the hospital, you want to know you're getting treated today. Yeah. You don't want to turn up, gear yourself up, and then be turned away.
Absolutely. Because I think one of the things that's it probably is talked about is anxiety. I mean, fortunately, I don't suffer from anxiety, never have done. However, I suffer from chemo anxiety. And that build-up, you know, even going to the hospital to have my bloods this morning and then waiting for that phone call and then, oh, no, they're not back yet or whatever. And then you make another phone call. No, they're not back. Come in tomorrow. And if your FBCs aren't back, then we can do a blood test there and then. Yeah. And you're waiting, you know, because you do build yourself up to go for chemo. The bizarrest thing is that usually, or certainly in my experience, I can't talk for everybody, when you're actually having the chemo, a lot of people ask me, does it hurt? What does it feel like? It's just water that's going into you, basically, through either your PICC line IV or portacath. So it's not the actual day of the chemo that you feel poorly, it's the after. Yeah. So people think, oh, she's had a chemo today, I'll go and see her, she'll be fine. And you're like, no, because 2 days later,
it's going
to whacks you, literally whacks you.
And how is it hard to say how long it will take you to get over that?
At the moment, it takes me a good 48 hours.
So quite a significant period of time.
So on the Friday, after the Thursday I've had chemo, on the Friday, I'm absolutely off my head, like hyper, because of all the pre-meds and all the drugs they've given you. And I literally, God, if I'm talking to you, you can't get a word in edgeways. And then Friday night, I hit a wall, and then that's it till Monday.
So it takes a lot of your body, So the first time after, when you had cancer, so you had your major, clearly major surgery, and then what happened after that?
So basically, that was in 2018. So then it's your yearly blood test and your yearly scan, and then I was supposed to finish that in 2022 because it's for 5 years. But because I had the operation in 2018, that finished in 2023. So they agreed to do 1 year extra scan, which was great. And then because I was paranoid, which obviously you're going to be, they ran more blood tests in 2024. Because the blood markers, the CEA markers they're called, they test.
What are they?
So CEA markers are your blood test. And for my particular cancer then, there's no treatment for appendix per se. They treat you for bowel cancer. So the markers for that, I think, is CEA 125, and there's another one. So each marker is a different one for each cancer. So I just remember what they are because I've got a bit of a weird brain. So they agreed because they knew that I was paranoid that, what if, like, it's fine now, but then it just comes back next year and you've not run a blood test. So they did do a blood test for me in 2024, and the markers were all within the normal limits. And so then that was me signed off.
And from your point of view, you were done. And how were you feeling at that point?
The one thing that people again don't talk about is that when you get your cancer diagnosis and you're being seen either weekly or twice a week, whatever your treatment plan is, when that stops, that's a really weird feeling, because all of a sudden you're like, well, I'm not being checked. What if this happens? What if that happens? Who can I contact? You don't have easy access to people anymore.
So the contact kind of like just
drops off
away.
A cliff. You then literally go from, seeing somebody every week or every other week to then once a year.
It's a massive difference.
Huge difference. So, I mean, whilst you can obviously still get support from groups and that, it's, if you are this way inclined, which I am, that I trust in medical science, then you need that reassurance from, whether it's the clinical director or professor and oncologist, you need that reassurance. And then you literally just drop off a cliff. And it's nothing that they've done. They've got other people to see. And then you move to annually. And then that helped me adjust to then going, it's okay, my bloods have been done in 2024.
It's fine.
I'm fine. But it is an adjustment that you need to make yourself, but other people will struggle with it.
So do you have to make a life adjustment afterwards? What was your life adjustment? The whole thing?
Because there's something called the change curve, where a big event happens in your life, good, bad or indifferent. So you go through what's called the change curve, which is anger, denial, and then you come back up, you start accepting it. So for me, when you get diagnosed with cancer, you go through that change curve.
And you can feel that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Anger, why me? Denial, I haven't got it, I'm not having treatment, blah, 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 to then like, okay, now I accept this isn't what's going to be for the next 6 months when I had the first lot of chemo. Obviously, then I went through the change curve again by potentially having this peritoneal disease risk. And then you go back through the change curve because all of a sudden you're left alone. And then what tends to happen, and it's no fault of family or friends, people start to drift off.
Yeah, they've moved. You're okay now, so they've moved. Okay, they've moved on,
But mentally, you might not be.
How did you feel?
People drifted off during it anyway, and I really struggled with certain people during my first diagnosis.
Because they just disappeared?
They just disappeared. I had people that lived 3 miles away, didn't even come and see me. I've got a friend in Manchester who lived 200 miles away and would come and see me regularly, and it's just the weirdest thing, and I'm going through it again now, where people are doing the same.
And why do you think that is? What is it?
I think they don't know what to say to you. Yeah. But I'm making no excuse of this. That's a pathetic excuse.
Because they know you as a person, right?
Yeah. And I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry actually. If someone's got cancer or another illness, face up to it. tell them you don't know what to say to them. And I've had people say to me, Colleen, I don't know what to say to you.
Would you rather prefer than be ignored?
100%.
Yeah.
And I say to them, my response is, the only thing you can say to me is, oh, it's been a mistake, you haven't got cancer. You can't say that to me. So it doesn't matter. Just tell me you don't know what to say. So I find it really difficult, because how can so many people ignore you or not contact you? And and so many other people are going through that. That young girl, she said that she doesn't understand how somebody's gone on holiday and left her. And I'm like, yep, get ya. And I said, people are just strange.
And I think it's something I hear so much, like even like going onto the cancer wards, like there's people without visitors, not because they haven't got family and friends, but because for exactly what you talk about. And all they need is just, like you say, I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
And that's better than saying nothing.
It is, and I just think that, I don't know, I really struggle with it. And it's like, with my counsellor at the moment, we've spoke about it so much. I mean, to a point where somebody's not spoke to me for 7 weeks, 8 weeks, if not longer. Phoned me up when she first knew, blah, blah, blah. And then she phoned me this weekend, so I did answer. And she's like, oh, I've been dreaming about you, and I just went, that's guilty conscience.
Yeah, because speak to me then.
Yeah. And I said, to be honest with you, and it sounds an awful thing to say, I said, you were dead to me. I said, I would never have contacted you again. I said, I think you're bang out of order. I said, I think it's absolutely disgusting that you've not contacted me. You're like family, and no excuse is going to be any good enough. Yeah. And she was like, yeah, you're right. So she owned it. Yeah. And I give people...
if they own it.
If they own it, I'll give them almost like a second chance. And I don't mean that as in like, oh, I'm the God Almighty, I'll give you another second chance.
No, because they might not have been actually aware of the impact that... Is it on that basis?
Huge impact.
Yeah.
Mentally, I mean, when you're going through it's weird, because my cancers have not made me poorly, if this makes sense. It's the side effects that make me poorly. Yeah. So when you're going through that, physically and mentally, you're just drained from it all. Then I have my 3-4 good days out of the week, and then your brain starts overthinking, because I am an overthinker, like, well, why is he not contacting me? Why is she not contacting me? What have I done so wrong? It's not contagious, you know, and you almost want to reach out to them and just say, why are you not doing this? And I just think, you're not worth my energy. So in the counselling, we talk about matching people's energy. So if they don't put effort into me, I don't put effort into them.
And to protect your energy as well.
I have to protect my energy, and that is literally what I'm doing, because what I found was, as I was concentrating on the person that lives 2 miles away and not celebrating the fact my friend from Manchester's coming down again this weekend. 3 times she's been down in 7 weeks.
It's incredible,
It's amazing.
And they're the people that you need to focus
absolutely,
on.
Absolutely.
So you've in remission. Would you class it as in remission? Is that the right wording to use?
Yeah, I mean, you don't, it's almost like, have you got a certificate? You don't... What they say after you've had cancer is that the risk of cancer returning, I think it was something like 60% in the first 2 or 3 years, and then it drops off a cliff up to 5 years, and then you are classed, as far as the health service is concerned, in remission. So yes, technically I was in remission in 2024.
And then, obviously, I reached out to you completely not aware in relation to this podcast, and then you've told me that you've got cancer again.
I have.
And it's a completely different type of cancer this time. So what type of cancer?
So I've got triple negative breast cancer.
What's that term? Because I haven't heard of the triple negative before.
So basically, I found a lump about the size of a Brussels sprout on a Thursday night. Obviously, went doctors, blah blah blah, and eventually they did all the tests. And you have to see if it's hormone related or not. So it's all to do with, and I don't remember the words exactly because I don't have this one, it's HRP and something else. But mine isn't hormone related. So mine's classed as what they call triple negative breast cancer. So it's not hormone related. And if there is any good cancer to get, apparently this is the easy fixable one per se.
And when did you find the lump?
I found the lump on the 30th of May.
Of this year?
Yeah. I don't mean to speak ill of the NHS because they saved my life last time, but I got referred on the 2-week cancer pathway. But we need to talk about this. And I kept phoning to get an appointment, and eventually they got me an appointment on the 25th of June. So that was way out
over
of
the time.
The 2-week cancer pathway.
So what was it that you just couldn't get through on the phone?
There's no appointments. You tried to phone, they've got an answer machine saying we're trying to get to you. You try and book online, there's no appointments available. Please phone the number. So you're forever going around in a loop. And then I went self-employed a few years ago and I took out private healthcare again. And by the 26th of June, I'd had MRI, biopsy, ultrasound, PET scan, CT scan, and then the MRI breast scan, saw a consultant and saw a professor.
All in that time?
All in that time, yeah.
Wow.
I know, so it is completely different. And then I actually phoned I cancelled the appointment with the NHS to give it to somebody else. And anyway, they phoned me up and said, oh, can I ask why you've cancelled? And I said, oh, yeah, I've gone private. And she just said, thank you. And I said, what for? She said, for cancelling. She said, we've got 90 women waiting for the mammogram and the ultrasound and everything. And I went, and she said, I nearly gave my job up the other day. She's got people shouting at us and screaming and crying. And I was like, well, I couldn't not phone and cancel it. No. Absolutely not. And she just said, thank you so much. Which is crazy, right? 90 women in Kettering waiting. Yeah, that's absolutely horrendous. A lot of people. Yeah. And so you've had a quick pathway because you've taken your own action. So are you having treatment now? Is that what's the plan? Because it's triple negative breast cancer, the scientific pathway is 12 weeks of chemo. Which you've started. I'm on week 8 this week. Every third week I have immunotherapy with that as well. And what's the immunotherapy? It got described to me as cancer is very, very clever, as we know. So when you have chemotherapy, cancer cloaks itself. Okay. So what immunotherapy does is it removes that cloak. So for it to be able to, so the chemo can get into it, is the way that it was described to me. I don't know. But it kind of makes sense. I've not really looked into it much further than that. So I have that. And then the good news for me is that the lump is not the size of a Brussels sprout anymore. It's literally disappeared. Which is great, And I'm praying out to the universe because I do pray to the universe. So we're bringing the MRI scan forward, the breast scan. Just then see like where it's at, Because if it's okay and has shrunk, then I potentially don't have to have 8 weeks of the Red Devil chemo. Which is going to be really invasive, Yeah, so psychologically, because of what I'm going through at the moment, physically and mentally, it's awful. It's just, Because obviously you never expected to be back here again, no. Literally, I couldn't believe it. I was just like, why me again? I'm not saying anyone else deserves it by any stretch of the imagination, but I was literally like, give me a break. Yeah, why? Just why? To the point where we did the BRCA gene testing for your breasts. That's come back negative. I was more relieved for my daughter than for me. But they also did some other genetic testing because if I'd had my ovaries left from that operation, then the pathway can go from ovaries to breast. But because I don't have my ovaries, there's no pathway from there at all. And the surgeon said that I think it's just sporadic and you're really unlucky. And I'm like, great, thanks. Really unlucky twice. Thanks for that. Thanks for that. But so we did other genetic testing and there is no reason I am literally the unluckiest. But I also class myself as the luckiest because I found them both really, really early. Yeah, which is great. So the chemo you're having, is it as intense as you had last time? It's not as long, but it is intense, and I do have the same side effects. And those side effects, first week was off the scale constipation to the point where I collapsed. And now I've gone the other way because my weak area is around my bowel because of all the operations I've had. And people don't like talking about diarrhea and constipation. But if it's happening, right, it's a thing, right? You know, I've literally had to be at home all the time because I've had a few accidents at 50 odd years old and it just happens because I can't control it. But people don't talk about it, but I do because I'm not embarrassed. But it's important for people to know. Absolutely. And I know you're able to work from home, which allows you that, that flexibility that if you do need to go, then you
You can, and you're not worried.
Or not go, as the case may be.
Depending on the situation is.
Yeah,
so,
I know.
So when you're having chemo, is it every day or is it once a week?
Once a week, every Thursday, and I'm in there for a little while, probably about 5-6 hours because of all the stuff and the pre-meds. But again, I have led my care. I've chosen not to have the steroids afterwards, which is for the anti-nausea. Wristbands, sickness wristbands, if anybody, they've made all the difference. Took about 80% of my nausea.
That's amazing.
Something as simple as that. I don't even care if it's placebo, it works.
But if it's working,
Yeah, so unfortunately, because I'm experienced in it, I've able to say, yes, I want these. But what I want to say to people is, do not put up with the side effects.
Yeah.
What I found is that they will give you certain tablets or medication. And unfortunately, they'll probably start at the lower end. But there are ones that are better or may suit you better.
Yeah.
So tell the nurses, tell the doctors, don't wait until you see the consultant 2 weeks later. Get on that phone and say, the nausea is still here, what else can I do? The diarrhea is still here, what can I do? I try to go natural, so I have prune juice, which works really well when I was constipated. That works really well for me, but don't put up with the side effects. You don't have to. You must tell them, you must talk to them. And I think we should advise people better than that. They say, oh, if you're feeling poorly, let us know. But
they don't want to often, do they?
No, because again, I love the NHS, but I don't think they've got time
to pick up the phone to have those conversations.
Absolutely. And I think there should be probably something that's more easily accessible than waiting for a phone call back, because those nurses could be in with patients, for example. So they need to have easier access, whether that's a WhatsApp, for example.
That someone could get back to you, because obviously, like you talked about earlier, if it closes at 4 or 5 o'clock and you haven't been called back, then you're on the circuit for the next day. So
absolutely. And 111 or can only do so much, and then they'll get a doctor to call you back. But there needs to be easier access for people in our social world now that we live in, or not social world, technology world we live in. Even the vets now, you can send a picture of, my dog's hurt his paw, and they'll get back to you within 3-4 hours.
Yeah, it's
Why
true.
are we not doing that for humans?
Yeah, no, valid point.
Yeah, we really should be doing that.
Yeah.
So then I'm waiting to see if I've got that red devil chemo, and then if not, I've not got to have a mastectomy now. Once I know the MRI, but psychologically I was ready to have them both off. I really don't care.
Yeah.
I didn't care. So I'll have an operation. Then I've got to have 1 to 3 weeks of radiotherapy. Yeah. Then once that's done, I've then got to have a year's worth of immunotherapy every 6 weeks.
So you're talking about at least end of 26, 27?
Start of 27.
Is when you'll finish treatment.
When I'm finished. And that, for me, because again, whenever I start something, I always start with the end in mind.
Yeah.
Where am I ending up?
Yeah.
And again, so when I got diagnosed, it was like, I'm not going to swear, but...
You can swear if you want.
Like, fucking hell, 2 years out of my life again.
2 years, like...
And my daughter's getting married in 2027, and I want my hair to be okay by then, One of the things that happens is you lose your identity.
And that's a long time. Do you feel like you've lost your identity?
Yes.
In what way?
It's from lots of different things. You can't have your nails done. And I know this might sound pretentious stuff, and I'm not a materialistic person.
But it's important to you, though.
Yeah, I like, my nails, they're awful. And my hair's clung on. My best friend who's a hairdresser, she can't believe how much it's clung on, but it's disappeared. I had my extensions took out last week, because from last time it was thin.
Yeah.
I didn't lose it last time. So I have extensions for thickness.
Yeah.
So I've had them taken out, and bless the young girl who was doing it for me, I started crying. She said, there's loads there. She took it away. She just got rid of it. I didn't want to look at it.
Yeah.
So I had a couple put more back in, but it's so thinning. And I just don't feel like me anymore. I look in the mirror and it's horrible.
Because you don't feel like you.
I know.
Do you think...
Sorry, I didn't want to get upset. But it's just, you look in the mirror and you just see,
feel.
God, I got cancer again. Why me? And it's like, I keep going through these things to go, why me again? It's horrible. It's horrible. But if I can help other people with their journey, that's really important. But by speaking out,
though, is really important, because people don't hear this. And there could be people listening that are sat there thinking and feeling the same thing and thinking, is there something wrong with me? When actually you're sharing, actually, this is how people feel. It's important. So by using your voice, you're saying, look, this is how I feel. And to be honest, Colleen, you come across as a really strong-minded, confident person. But everyone has the right to struggle. Everybody has the right to feel the way they feel. And if you missing, not having your nails done, that's not superficial. Yeah. That's important to you.
It is, and it's like, and I'm not saying it's easier for men who would potentially lose their hair, but for a woman, it is their identity. And it's like, I've been and bought a wig, and I bought some of them, not bandanas, whatever.
Yeah, I know what you mean,
the hat things. And it's like, they're sitting in my bedroom waiting, and, I've put them out the way, I've packed them away. And I just know that when it happens, when it all goes, it's just, and I don't mean this horribly to other people because I'm probably guilty of it myself, but then people look at me and think, she's got cancer. Yeah. And I don't want people to look at me and think I've got cancer. Yeah. Fortunately, I had my eyebrows microbladed, so they've stayed, but some of the hair's gone. My eyelashes are okay. Yeah. But it's just when that goes, so I'm kind of praying that I don't need the Red Devil chemo because it will definitely go.
It will definitely go.
But I think the other thing is that whilst I'm having private treatment and I'm under a professor and she's amazing, she has a process. So you talk about being a strong woman. There were 6 of us in for chemo this week, and she was seeing 3 people, and I go along, put the port cath in, flush it, half an hour, but she likes to see you. Yeah. So I was waiting over 2 hours for her.
So that's a long time.
My anxiety was through the roof. So I went to try and find her, and then I spoke to the nurses and I said, I'm sorry, I can't deal with this. Yeah. She can get me started and then come and talk to me because my blood dictates whether I can have chemo
or not. Yeah.
So she came along and she was like, oh, Colleen, what's the matter? And I just told her straight. Yeah. And the nurses came up to me after. I was nice enough. I was probably quite firm because I just said, I don't agree with your process. And my blood's dictate. And she said, well, I can change it. And I said, how? And she said, well, you might have new side effects. And I went, but if I have new side effects, it's for me to advise you, like I did last week with thrush in my mouth. And I said, so no, I want you to get me started. Yeah. And when I spoke to the nurses later on, they'd actually said that they've tried to get her to change the process, like, let's get people started and you see them as you're going along. And everybody had complained that day, but I was the only person that said something. So I beg people to speak out. Whilst I admire them and respect them, they've dedicated their lives to research. She's a professor. She's like, she's up there. Yeah. But we're all human and we should lead our care. So we should be speaking out. Yeah. So I did. So she's changed it for next week and the week after.
No, but it's great because then that was going to be done in a way that is the right way for you. Yeah, absolutely. And it'll make you going in feeling better.
Yeah, so this Thursday I'm not going to be as anxious because she was on holiday for 2 weeks and obviously they got me started. So I said to her, well, while you're on holiday it happened, so why can't we do it now? Yeah. And I think it is important that people talk about it or talk to their oncologist or whoever they're seeing, whether it's private, NHS or what, it doesn't make any difference. You need to lead your care. You need to be the one saying, I'm not happy with this, or I found I've had this side effect, I've never had it before, or you've given me these tablets and they're not touching it, I'm still feeling sick, or I'm still this, or I'm still that. You don't have to put up with it. Yeah. The other thing that I do, which again, because I'm a bit of a weirdo, is like I know what my bloods are each week. I ask what my white blood cells are, my FBCs, my ALTs, my LFTs, and all these abbreviations. And people are like, why do you ask? Why do you ask? Because I want to know what the limits are. So, for example, your liver function test should be range of sort of like up to 35, 40. Probably boring you now.
No, I'm learning a lot.
When I was on my chemo before for the appendix cancer, they shot up to 178. So it means your body is not coping because they dosage your chemo based on your height, your weight, etc.
Okay, I didn't realise that.
Yeah, so obviously your body, so everyone has 100% of their height, body, weight, etc. So then they stopped my chemo because my body couldn't cope with it. They went down to 75. No, you need another week off chemo. And then they came down to 40 odd and they said, yes, go ahead. Yeah. So this is the other thing that people don't warn you about, that if your bloods aren't right, they can't go ahead with your chemo, so you get put off.
Yeah.
Which is why I phone every week to see if my results.
Check,
Bizarrely enough, when I went to start this chemo, there were 1,000. And the professor was like, okay, Colleen, I need to talk to you.
Yeah.
How much do you drink? And I'm like, I don't really drink. I said, I'm a binge drinker once every weekend type of thing, probably half bottle of wine. She's like, something not right here. So they took another blood test 2 days later, down at 446. She was like, please tell me the truth. I said, look, I would not lie to you. There's no need for me to lie.
Because it's important.
Yeah, of course it is. So eventually they've come down and they're at good levels, and it was because I had to go on statin for my cholesterol.
Oh, and that affected
and that's
it
what
so
affected
badly.
it. So this is what people need to know. And then the following week it was like, Colleen, are you taking any supplements? And I just listed my normal natural supplements I take. And then I said, oh yeah, I've got to take calcium as advised by the professor. But my calcium levels have gone through the roof because of these tablets, which were normal natural supplement. But my white blood cells are supposed to be between 2.5 and I think it's 9.
Yeah.
They shoot up to 15. So they can still go ahead with my treatment.
It's a lot to learn and juggle.
But then I don't have these injections after my treatment because it comes back down again. So I have them sort of 2 out of the 3 weeks.
That's a lot to remember. But what I like about what you're doing, which I don't hear often enough, is that you're keeping on top of that. I know that's not easy. It's easier said than done for everybody, but I think it's actually really important that you actually have to take some lead on your own healthcare as well.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that's really important.
I think that's my sort of final say on it, is that lead your care.
That's what I was going to ask,
lead your care. Don't put up with side effects is definitely, don't get me wrong, I've got undiagnosed OCD with the way that I do things. I've got a whole new book and I write everything down, and my friend that comes every week with me, we ask for the bloods. Nobody else does that. That's just me and my way of coping. But I don't want someone to say to me, you can't have your treatment this week because your bloods are bad. Which one? Why? Blah, you know, and find out what have I done different this week. So all I'm saying to people is lead your care, don't put up with side effects, speak to people. But I think, again, we need to lobby somehow is people need more instant access to information because people Google things and get the wrong information, so they need access to those people. No,
and I thank you, because that's what I was going to ask you, what your final message would be to people that are listening. And I think what I've taken away from you is about you need to take that step to lead your care, but also there isn't enough information, and like you go on Google, you can get yourself into a whole minefield like on Google. So maybe there's something we need to do then, right? Yes, we should set up a WhatsApp group.
I'm up for that, and I am just going to plug my Insta. So I've started an Insta, which is a
please
blog.
do. What's the handle?
So it's called Two Tumours, One Girl, all in letters. So it's an open account. You can go and have a look at it, and I literally video me having my porta put in and my treatment. So if anybody wants to see the reality of what it's like, and people are then asking me questions that they didn't know. So I'm hoping it helps other people as well. No, thank you, Colleen. Even having this conversation with you, I've learned a lot, and I know it's going to help so many people. Brilliant. So thank you. I know you didn't want to be here initially, but thank you for sharing your story. It's really important. No, I'm good. I'm glad. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for listening to the See Through the Big C podcast. I hope you took a lot of value from the stories that is shared, and that it hopes to either educate, motivate or inspire you to take action. So thank you for listening.